Tuomo, Lindstedt, Matti, Nurminen, welcome to our conference here in Berlin. I almost would say, but you are now in Helsinki, I guess, or in Finland, and I would like to say a warm welcome to you. Thank you very much that you take your time today for being with us and that you were willing to support us in this conference, even in this setup, which is a little bit unusual for us. So welcome to you. I would like to introduce you to our audience. We have, you see them on the screen now, we have Matti Nurminen on the left side. Matti is working for Finavia. You will probably say a little bit about Finavia in your presentation since 2006. Before that, he gained almost 9 years experience from construction management consultancy, and he is now in the role of the operative director for the Helsinki Airport Development Program, and he's also chairman of the construction management group at the Finnish Builder Owner Association. And on the right side, we see Tuomo Lindstedt. Hello, Tuomo. Nice to see you again. Welcome. Tuomo is working for Finavia and especially as the project manager for the T2 Alliance project since 2016. He had also previous work experience in contracting and consultancy. He has used many different types of contracts, project management contracts in its various kinds. The T2 Alliance project, which will be a major part of the presentation, is the first Alliance project for Tuomo. So it's also interesting to see what your comparison is to the other experiences which you have meant. And both of you will now present us your experience, your insights from especially the Terminal 2 extension, but I've learned that this is your third Alliance project, so you probably will say a little bit also about the other projects. So welcome again, Tuomo and Matti. The floor is yours, and we're looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you very much. My name is Matti Nurminen, and I work as a project director at Helsinki Airport Development Program. First, I'm going to present Finavia Limited Company. Secondly, I'm going to tell you about the Helsinki Airport Development Program. And finally, I will present shortly 3 different IPD contracts at Helsinki Airport Development Program. Next slide. Finavia is a public limited company owned by the Finnish state. Our business is market-based and financed by operative revenue. Our revenue is about 390 million euros, and our investments was at 2019 306 million euros. We have about 2,200 employees at the company. We have 21 airports and about 26 million passengers per year. Because Finavia is a public company, we have to do public tendering processes all on our tenderings. Next, please. At Helsinki Airport Development Program, of course, we increase our capacity much. We increase our wide-body aircraft contact stands 8 to 16 contact stands. We renew our aprons, 450,000 square meters. And of course, our package handling capacity increase also 50%. Terminal square meters increase about 45%. Whole investment is about 1 billion euros. And it includes about 25 different projects, this program. In development program, we also change our processes and increase commercial revenues. Of course, we aim to increase customer satisfaction too. Next, please. This is how Helsinki Airport expands. Expanding a running airport is a very difficult. You have to keep all the processes running smoothly and safely. Operations came first, and after that comes the construction sites. When we start the program, we think how we can handle this change. We had our own project model, of course, and we think this whole thing is not the one project. Then we think maybe we can handle this by project portfolio. But then we find out the program management way. We think it's the best way to make big change. You can focus on benefits on the program level, and the project level, you can focus on that. I can call that, I say that program level is a helicopter view, and the project view, you can be hands-on at all those normal difficulties at the projects. Next, please. We start at 2013 with 4 feasibility studies and 1 actual project. Then we start the program by master planning 2014, and then we start also 2 major projects, apron 1 extension and parking facility extension. I think we were very flexible at that running that program, because normally you do master planning before the program and then start the program, but we drive in that program many lines, so we can do master planning work and then we start 2 projects. After that, we start to the major projects, increase the transfer capacity project, and of course this departing and arriving landside project. Okay, next one. Okay, can you go back a little bit, 1 slide? Organization. Yeah, thank you. At organization level, this is our program organization. We have a program board where is senior vice presidents and me. I am a secretary of that program, and in this organization we have 25 projects. We are trying to do the decision making. We are trying to put the decision making so slow that is possible, that every project has their own steering groups, and every project can do their own decision, that we can run the program very, very agile. Of course, we have much people, external researchers. We don't have so many construction managers at our company. Yeah, our project management office, we have about 20 people only. Okay, next one. This is how we can have you can see the line here. It is our increasing airport service quality metrics, which is worldwide metrics in the airports. And then you can see the passenger per year annually, it increasing. And although we are running this program, we can our apron service quality metrics are increasing too. So I think we can handle this program very fine. And third and last one, our IPD and Alliance projects. Next slide, please. This Apron Alliance is our first IPD contract at this development program. Contract parties Finavia and Destia Limited Company. Designers are in the different contracts. They are on the frame contract, but they are on the Alliance also. Contract value is about 1 million euros. All the IPD projects, we have different development and construction phase. And in this contract, we have 4 different phases, and all those have development and construct phases. And best success at the key result area at this contract is the contract stands day increasing over 25% during this contract. When we started, we think that this is the best way to do this phasing, but after we have made the first development phase with the contractor, we can increase the contract stand days over 25%. The next one. Next, please. Non-Schengen terminal extension. Contract parties Finavia and YIT Limited Company. Designers are under different contracts. Contract value is about 250 million euros. Can you go back one slide? Thank you. There we have 6 different phases. All those have including development and construct phase. Best success in the key result area is that we can open this west wing, which is in that picture, 5 months before actually contract day ends. And the last one, non-Schengen terminal extension, is a pure Alliance contract where we have Finavia, SRE, Ala Architects, HKP Architects, and Ramboll Finland Limited Company. Contract value is about 350 million euros. There we have 2 different phases, and both then have included development and construction phase. And Tuomo can tell you more about this project. Thank you.
Okay. Hello also from my side. As Shervin introduced, my name is Tuomo Lindstedt, and I work as the project manager for the T2 Alliance project. And I work for Finavia also. In my slides, I will go deeper into the actual T2 Alliance project and why we have selected the Alliance model for the project model for the project. So the main idea why we selected Alliance is because it's so flexible. As Matti mentioned in his presentation, we started the development program early 2014, and we had our first project up and running and actually ready by the end of year 2016. So it's very agile, but it requires flexibility in project models. Also, because we wanted to adapt the changes that the airport has during this long project. So we wanted to have this adaptness in this project also. So that's why we selected an agile and flexible project model, and the alliance model was our key element how we can solve these issues. Moving to next slide. The T2 Alliance Procurement, it was according to the legislation of Finnish legislation and EU directives. So we had to have a public procurement method in acquiring the alliance partners. I think it was on the previous slide that was the, yeah, this one, yeah. So the competition actually was held in two phases. So it was not as a pure alliance contract in that way, because we selected the different parties differently. So we had our designers through a design competition, which was held between the end of year 2016 and summer 2017. The winner of that competition was Ala Architects, HKP Architects, and Technical Design from Ramboll, Finland. In this procurement, it was mentioned that this winner of this competition will be part of this alliance project, and we will use negotiation method to add these parties into the alliance contract, which will be selected after the design competition. And the actual contractor was held simultaneously as we had the design competition, which was technically challenging because we didn't have any plans for the contractor which they tendered to. So it was quite challenging and but also very interesting for us. It was a price and quality issue, with the quality part was the bigger part. Okay. So because Finavia is 100% state-owned, we had to use the public procurement process, which is of course required that we use the price component, but it makes it possible for us to use quality also. So we had the alliance procurement in two phases, or two steps as it reads on the screen. So on the first step, we shortlisted companies. We had strict requirements for the candidates. We wanted them to be big enough for this kind of project, but we also wanted them to have some experience on these kind of projects. So we wanted them to have experience on development phases, so they have slight understanding what an IPD or an alliance project is. After the first step, we shortlisted the 5 companies into 3 with 100% quality assessment. And in the second step, we combined the first step results and the second step results, so that the quality was 80% and the rest 20% was the price. And as I mentioned, we didn't have designs, so we only needed to evaluate their fee. So they only gave a fee percentage to us, which was the price component in this competition. Okay, so Alliance and IPD projects are very different from the basic or traditional project models, and they require different tools and different methods how you run the project. First, we wanted to have agility in the project, and we wanted to minimize waste. This was our main goals, and this was also one of the triggers why we selected Alliance project, because it makes it easier to adapt these lean methods into the project, because they are mutual goals for all participants. Then the first of all, we wrote into the tendering papers that we want the contractors to show how they do target value design or target value delivery, and that was one of the assessment criteria in the procurement. Also, what we wrote in the tendering documents was that this project will be totally open book project. So all the project participants, all the contractor parties, and all the designers will have the documentation for prices and costs at all times of the project. So this was clear for us for entire time of the project, and we still continue using that. Other kind of methods that we use that was not mentioned that clearly in the procurement document, but was further adapted into the project in the development phase, was of course continuous improvement. We don't want to use processes that are not working. We don't want to use methods that are not working, so we want to make it better all the time. We also adapted last planner system, which has evolved during this project quite a lot. We have started using takt time in our production. We wanted the contractor to think how to make it possible to use just-in-time deliveries, and we wanted the contractor to think that how they can adapt prefabrication into this project. Also, because this is an alliance project and we have a bonus model, we use KPIs to understand how good we're doing. We use bottleneck analysis because it's an operational airport and we need to understand what are the key elements causing bottlenecks on an operational airport, but also during a project, so we don't have long stalls in this project. And of course, we use different kind of methods, Kanban board and visualization, and we use big room, etc. And we have this document up and showing all around the big room area, but also in a web-based forum, so that all the project participants can see how this project is going. Of course, in addition to these methods and processes, we need to have unique tools, tailored tools for the project members, because this is completely different on contract-wise. It also requires different tools than the traditional methods use. We need to have project dashboards. This is a requirement that comes from the open book processes, but also to give understanding for the project members how this project is going. We need to have task lists so that all the project members know what kind of tasks are required to do and by whom. So this is an addition to last planner system in this project, because we want to have the last planner wall information among all the rest of the parties that do not work in the big room environment. Of course, because we have a development phase and we have constantly changing project goals, so to say, we need to have a change log, because airport as an environment is changing constantly. We have legislative challenges, but also our goals change. Uh, if thinking this COVID-19 for as an example, our goals change dramatically during this spring, and we need to adapt and we need to do rapid changes. When we do rapid changes, we need to inform all the project members how these are done. So we have a change log and decision log. Also, we have these project calendars, so all project members see what is happening and where. We have Teams as a communication channel. We have project weekly schedule so that everybody knows what is their goal for a week and what needs to do in order to inform the rest of the team and rest of the project members. And of course, we need lots and lots of tailored processes, how people work and how people inform and do, for example, the presentations, for example, for a change. And because we have so many unique and tailored tools, and we used lots and lots of new construction methods, we require quite a lot of teaching. We started having these training seminars. We had a goal that we have these seminars at least 3 times a year. Last year we had 4. And in these training seminars, we have to think what kind of information and to what audience are this training being done. So we splitted these training groups into 4 different groups. So we selected a small group as an Alliance Pro, so key person that person can go and ask how this process is supposed to do and how it's supposed to go. We have the big room personnel that are working a whole day in big room environments, and that's a bit different from the personnel working from their home office. We have a training for Alliance steering group members, because this is a different kind of project, so we need to have the steering group in a way that they understand the project model and the contract model as good as possible, so that they can do exceptional decisions. And finally, we have training for all project personnel. So we have those basic models, basic ideas how this project is going. So we need to have this training for all personnel. And in these training sessions, we need to think what kind of issues we teach people, because we cannot teach everything at once. So we had themes. One of the biggest was the project objectives. One of the first was last planner, and also the TVD, or the target value design process. And the latest that we have had was the change and change management, so people can understand how changes are being implemented into this project and how to deal with them. Of course, when talking about IPD and Alliance project, it isn't always easy, because it's a new model. It has quite a lot of challenges, but also it gives you possibilities to do better than on those traditional projects. So first, the challenges, the biggest challenges that we have had was the roles and responsibilities. Because they differ so much from the traditional versions, it's hard to people to forget how they have done things in the past and how they should do things in this project. So it has been quite challenging and quite hard, but I think we are moving in the right direction, and we're on a good position now. So the next challenge was that we gave goals for the project members, and we wanted them to innovate and do designs that would be beneficial for both for the Alliance, but also for Finavia, but to understand objectives in a way that you can give innovative design ideas to a client, it's very challenging. So in the first phase, the only party that was giving ideas how to develop an airport was Finavia's people, but it also has moved into the right direction, but it has been quite long road. Last, but of course not least, was defining the project scope. So Alliance project, which has a development phase, we mutually agree that this is the scope, and within this scope, it costs this much. But after that, if we have failed to understand that for a certain design that was needed to do, it is an Alliance flaw or Alliance error, and it is inside the project scope, and we just have to live with it. But if we have addition to the project scope, then it's an addition also for the Alliance, and Finavia has to pay more. So there's a thin red line between these two areas, and we're still struggling with these issues. Of course, the successes then was that we wanted to have agile project, as I mentioned in the beginning. So one of the successes is that Alliance project has an ability to adapt when project goals are updated. So that's a definite plus. Also, when we had quite challenging cost saving issues in the beginning of the project, Alliance also managed to find these cost saving issues, and we managed to get the project up and running. And finally, last but not least, the project is in budget and the project is in schedule. So that is huge, concerning that we're building at an operational airport. So what's next? As in Marte's slides, he showed that this is a program model, and in this program model, we consisted of different projects. And this different project, this landside development or Terminal 2 development is the last major project in this program. So the next phase that we have is the finalization of this project. And of course, because this is quite a big project, we have split this into different parts. And we tend to finalize the construction project for the actual terminal extension. And after we have finalized the terminal extension construction works, we take it into use. But during that time, we finalize also the development phase for the existing terminal changes and start working within the old terminal itself. And that will be the next project that we have in this project and in this program, and it's the final phase of the program. So hopefully these ideas that we have in this this phase in the construction phase can be adapted into the future phases, and we can learn from our mistakes and do better in the next phase also. So thank you.
All right. Matti, Tuomo, thank you very much for your presentation. I have to say,
Thank you.
I am delighted that we have now the second time a presentation from Finland. After last year, we had Pekka Petinjaniemi here from the Finnish Transportation Authority, whom you probably know well.
Yes.
And now we have let's say, a second big owner organization from Finland who gives us those insights. So thank you very much. And I would like to start with a question for each of you before we go to the questions from the audience. And I would like to add, maybe we'll go 2 or 3 minutes into the break to use the precious time we have with you for the questions. So, Martti, first for you, since you look at this project obviously from a management perspective, and I've learned that you've been with Finavia quite a long time, so probably you initiated the idea of alliancing, or at least were a major part of it. So my question for you would be, also because we have many owner representatives in our audience today, what did you do as an owner on an organizational level to prepare your own organization while thinking about the first pilot project, while going into the first pilot project? What were the measures you took to prepare your own organization on the different levels? Maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Yes, thank you. I think for the going to the IPD projects is quite easy to our company, because we have had projects, major projects, and we do it by management contracting models, where we have very much risk on those projects. Because on those projects we don't have any main contractors. We have only consultant who is doing the main contractor and all the tendering processes. And that's why in our company we have a experience about doing or not risk, but the budgetal risk. And I think that in IPD projects it's lower level risks on the budget side, and that's why we choose the IPD projects.
So thank you. I find it interesting that you say from the owner's perspective, obviously from an early point, you had the opinion that the risk from the owner's side is lower than in other project models, at least for these kind of projects. So thank you. Maybe I come back to that question for Tuomo. Tuomo, you mentioned, or I mentioned, I guess, in the introduction, that this is your first Alliance project.
Yes.
So, and you have gained experience with other project delivery models in the past, and I would find it interesting to know from you what has changed for you, for yourself as a project manager. What has changed for you doing this project? Would you say you were born as an Alliance project manager, or were there things that you had to adopt personally and to change maybe yourself?
I would say that for me it's been easier to take the alliance models in project management for me, because in the previous project that we had, the challenges were that we had to use contract management. So when the contractor said that this is how they want to do it, and it will make you savings for X amount of euros, you then had to go back to the designers and say that how long does it take for you to design this change, and how much does it cost? And if that is costing more than the actual saving that the contractor is saying, you have to go back to the contractors and this is waste of money. We don't want to do that. And to tell these cost prices, some of the clients, at least here in Finland, are not willing to give that cost data for other parties than the contract parties. So it's quite challenging to say for a designer to, for example, do cheaper, and the designer says cheaper than what, and they say that this is the cheapest that they have found, and this is the cheapest solution that they have found, or the cost efficient way that they have found. So in a way that when we're using this kind of model where everybody's under one contract, it takes out the contract management out of the picture, and for me it's a lot easier to work because I can then focus on the project and the project.
All right, thank you, Tuomo. We have at some points a little bit the difficulties with the connection, but I guess it worked. It worked so far, so we understood most part of it. Thank you so much so far. I will now look in our tool here where we have a few questions, and I see which one we will take now. I have a question. There are questions regarding tools and methods. One question is the use of those tailored and new tools or methods in the early design phase. What did that have of an impact on the timeline? So this is a question from Gunnar Schuchat from Bayer. So did you need more time for the design phase because you had all these new methods, or did you already experience that you had, let's say, efficiency influences? What can you say about that?
The new tools made it challenging to manage the amount of hours that the designers used, because they didn't understand how these new processes and tools worked, and they wanted to have some kind of old and familiar type of doing things. So then they adapted some from the old and some from the new, and it didn't work. So we used quite a lot of resources for waste. So of course it took more time, but at the end, I think these new models gained so much that as end of the development phase, we were in schedule. So.
All right, thank you very much. Let's see. I have a question here about the planning responsibility or the design responsibility. Probably it can be a quick answer. So the question was, does the separate contract for the planners, for the designers, mean that the detailed design is done by the designers and not by the contractors? Because in Germany we have sometimes the constellation that the main contractors take the detailed design in their responsibility. So just maybe you can say how you did that in your project.
Yeah, in these projects, the detailed design is done by the designers.
Okay.
But the designer's fee is calculated inside the project budget. So the contractor knows how much money is supposed to be spent with the designers, and the designers know how much money the contractor will spend. So the goal is mutual, even though the design contract is between Finavia and the designers, but it's all the way through the project.
Okay, thank you very much. So the designers, the responsibility remains with the designers for the detailed design. Yeah. I have a question here. I think that's very interesting. You mentioned lean culture in your presentation.
Yeah.
Cultural aspect. So the question is, how did you implement lean culture in your project, and how did you ensure that people behaved or kept up to the principles which you have defined? I think that's maybe a question for both of you. or whoever feels comfortable to answer that question.
Looks sellaista.
Vastaus ja sulla oli vastaus. Koulutus.
Yeah, lean culture was or is still a challenge to take in operative use in this project. We have tried to educate people why we're using these kind of methods, and we're trying to educate people why this lean culture would be beneficiary for all project members. We have these notice boards all around the big room, and we try to discuss and speak with all the project members, project participants in a way that they understand that this is important and good for all the project members. But still, because this is new for most of the people in this project, it's still work under process.
I think that's a good expression, work under progress. Matti, would
Yeah.
you like to add maybe a final word from you on that before we go into a break?
I think Thomas mentioned all. Education.
And continuous improvement,
Yes,
one would probably
course.
add. Okay. All right. I receive several signs from from our management here that we are now over time. I would really underline that we appreciate the fact that you took the time and be available for our conference and share your learnings and your insights and give us a feeling, I would say, how you address the challenges in those projects. And I think we can see that there is a conviction on your side that this project delivery model, even after 3 projects, is something that has helped you along the way, even though surely there are challenges along the way. So for our audience, I would like to also to underline that we have several other questions, and I'm sure Tuomo and Matti will be happy. We will get in touch with you. Maybe you can help us with answering those questions after the
Definitely.
conference. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.